There's one chord progression that's been used by composers from Scott Joplin to the Beatles, even to Bruno Mars, but for some reason, no one talks about it. Once you learn to recognize it and hear it, it'll unlock Misty and hundreds of other tunes that you can play pretty much by ear. I'm Dr. George, and I've helped thousands of guitarists by making jazz simple so that they can play more and think less. No tune demonstrates this progression more clearly than Misty. Now, Misty may look complicated, but it's a lot easier than it looks. In this video, you'll learn the framework that forms the basis for countless tunes, how to outline the chord changes with just one target note, and a diminished chord secret that'll blow your mind. Let's dig in. Here's the mistake most guitarists make with tunes like Misty. They try to memorize every chord, and then they try to solve it with a bunch of scales. But the reality is, the A section in Misty is all in one key, and all you need is one scale and a couple of notes. Once you learn to hear it, you'll understand songs in a completely new way. So the chords we're looking for are 1, 5, 7 of 4, 4, 4 minor, 1, 5, 1. That should sound pretty familiar. So now let's look at Misty. It starts out on the 1 chord. The second chord is a B flat minor 7, but then it goes to the E flat 7. That's a 2-5 progression, and it sounds like it should be going to A flat major, and it does. But this is 4, not 1. Okay, our next chord is the A flat minor 7, and then followed by a D flat 7, which is very much like A flat minor 6. These are both borrowed chords from the parallel minor, and they sound like they should be going to G flat, but in fact they go back to 1. That's called a backdoor cadence. And then after that we have 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, C7, 2, 5. Now all those chords are doing is just extending that 1 chord until we get to the 5 chord. And then we're back to 1. So there's the framework. And we have this implied line, 1, flat 7, 6, flat 6, 5, 1, which is the bass line from The Entertainer. So now let's look at how we can play over that. If we're playing an E flat major, well, all of the diatonic chords, 1, 4, 5, and then the 3 and the 2 are all diatonic, so we don't have to worry about those at all. You're just in E flat. When we go to the 2-5 into the 4, now it sounds like we're going to 4, like we're going to A flat major, and in fact those have the D flat, which is what will make E flat become A flat. And so when we get to that, that's the one note we have to think about. But when we get back to A flat, we're back in E flat again. It's diatonic. And then our next chord, well, as I said, these are borrowed from the parallel minor. 4 major became 4 minor. How do you make a major chord minor? You lower the 3rd. And so there's our note, C flat or B natural if you prefer. And that's the only 2 notes that you have to worry about when you're playing that A section. Now, one other note we could think about, and that is when we get to the C7 chord, maybe you want to play an E natural. But if you don't, it probably won't matter too much. So now let's take a look at the bridge. It starts out with a 2, a 5, and a 1, moving to A flat. Now, the reason that this is a modulation as opposed to what we saw in the A section is that it really feels like it arrived there, and we sit on that A flat for 2 measures. You might embellish it, but it's going to be sitting there on 2 measures. And so we're very much feel like we've moved into a different key center. But there's one really important thing to notice, and that is on the melody. Okay, the melody, that's a flat 9. Now that flat 9 is going to give us a clue on how to handle the next 4 bars, because we move down a half step to A minor 7, and then it plays then a D7, which we expect to go to G, but it doesn't. It goes to F. Now where'd that come from? This is the little diminished secret I'm going to share with you. You probably know that diminished chords can move up in minor thirds. The damsel in distress, right? Well, we can also do that with dominant chords. So D7 and F7 are a minor third apart. So they are essentially the same chord. And so what's really happening here is that we play this F7 on top of that D7 chord. The notes that are different are F and E flat, which means that we've just altered that D7 chord. So it's which is essentially what's going on right there. And that D7 then takes us back to the G minor 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, back to 1. There's a lot more to know about diminished and dominant chords that I'll cover in an upcoming video. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. So rather than thinking about all of these scales, we only have 3 major scales to think about and a couple of extra notes along the way. That's a lot easier. Now, once you hear this, it's going to unlock a lot of tunes for you. The key is being able to hear first that 4 major to the 4 minor and then back to 1. So play that chord progression first. Now sing the key notes. Do, 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 do. Next, play the entire progression. 1, 5, 7, a 4, 4, 4 minor, 1, 5, 1. And then sing along with that, the line 2. Do, 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 do. And now finally, play the whole progression of the song and sing just those non-diatonic target notes, the D flat and then the C flat. All right, so here's a list of songs that use this framework. Now, sometimes it's the entire tune, sometimes it's just one section. These first 5 are pretty clear. And here's where you can help out. Are there any songs you think that use this framework? List them down in the comments down below. Now, these next 5 are not so obvious. Composers used pretty ingenious methods to disguise the progression using substitutions. You need to dig into theory a little deeper to find it in these songs. The key is that there are other chords that belong to each function that can be used to substitute for the original chords. And if you want to learn about that, check out this video. And finally, here are 3 songs that really might surprise you. I Saw Her Standing There by the Beatles, Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel, and Versace on the Floor by Bruno Mars. See if you could find the framework on these tunes too. Now, the theory I shared behind this might seem pretty deep, but the result is a much simpler way to approach many songs. This is what I do in my Jumpstart Jazz guitar program. I do the heavy lifting and then provide you with a solution that makes jazz simpler. If that sounds interesting to you, book a free coaching call with me. We can look at your favorite song and I'll show you just how it works. Click the link in the description down below.